There's a lake for each day of the year, and each holds its own precious secret of the hope and the joy and the sorrow gone by in Breffni, the kingdom of dreams. A little boy dreams at the lakeside of trout he will catch when he's 5, as he watches the fishermen passing in their boats, which are ships in his eyes, with the laughter of other kids playing and the cry from the gulls squealing by. He'll recall Killikeen when he's 50, a sweet memory of youth filled with joy. There's a lake for each day of the year, and each holds its own precious secret of the hope and the joy and the sorrow gone by in Breffni, the kingdom of dreams. Far away an old man bent and feeble stands alone with his pain and his fear, and he whispers a prayer to the water, for he knows that death's doorway is near. But he stands on the shore of Loch Uchther, where old O'Neill lies at rest, and the lake murmurs soft words of comfort. Do not grieve, for the new world is best.
Let them get out is enough. But safety comes first, and I don't want to see any cowboy, that's the way I'm putting it is, out there. Because if I do, you won't be back next year.
No, there's no dog from the lake. Huh? Huh?
Who's going to be first?
There's a lake for each day of the year, and each holds its own precious secret of the hope and the joy and the sorrow gone by in Breffni, the kingdom of dreams.
I am a bird watcher and I'm a general wildlife enthusiast, so I'm passionate about insects and passionate about bogs and passionate about woods. There's also mute swans out there and coots, and when you come here in the month of April and May, the coots are making quite a racket and arguing over who's allowed into what territory and who's mating with who and who's stealing who's nesting material and that kind of thing. So in the spring this is a noisy place, but there's the whoopers will be leaving, the whooper swans that came down from Iceland, they'll be leaving, and a lot of the ducks will be leaving. They're going back to Northern Europe, to Scandinavia and Eastern Poland and Russia.
Here in the BallyJamesduff Museum there's lots of evidence of human habitation and industry near and in the lakes of Cavan. For example, these finds come from Tonymore Loch, which is a drained lake near Cavan town. It was drained in the 18th century when the railway company built the railway lines. We have evidence here of iron working in the form of slag, iron ingots and crucibles. We also have evidence of linen working and leather working in the form of linen smoothers and bone piercers. Also in BallyJamesduff Museum there is a very large 25-foot dugout canoe called the Loch Erin logboat, and it was used 1,000 years ago in the early medieval period to navigate through the lakes and rivers of Cavan during a time when moving cattle and goods over land and thick forest would have been very difficult. The lakes and rivers of Cavan were used extensively during periods of war by the Irish, as the locals had in-depth knowledge of the surrounding forests and waterway networks that the British didn't have. This fact is clearly seen in a place named Rebel Hill, near the lake in Ballyburgh. Rebel Hill got its name due to the battle that took place there in the 1798 rebellion. Crannogs, which are man-made islands in lakes, are not only for domestic use but also used for defence. People used hidden, winding paths connecting them to the mainland just beneath the water that invaders would never have known about. Over time, some crannogs or island defences evolved into castle fortification, for example Loch Uachtar Castle. Cavan's lakes and waterways were major communication and supply networks when the islands were heavily forested. As a result, many abbeys and monasteries grew up on or near the lakes and rivers. One such example is Drumlane Abbey, founded in the 6th century in the north of County Cavan, which rests on the banks of one of the many lakes of Cavan's Loch Uachtar system.
This is the flora and fauna of a particular lake in Cavan. It's the Loch Uachtar Lake. In the centre of this poster here we've got the castle, and the castle here is built on a crannog. Each lake has particular flora and fauna, and because of the plants that attracts particular birds, insects, etc. Once again we've got the flora and fauna of one of the lakes of Cavan. This is the lake beside Killashandra, and in this painting the drumlins that surround the lakes are depicted. Again, you've got the grebe here, we've got the little grebe, the pochard, the teal, the widgeon, the mallard. The geese are white-fronted Canadian goose, greylag goose. Cormorant also is on most of the lakes too. Up here on the top right-hand side I've distinguished between the buzzard and the eagle. A lot of people around Cavan think they've seen eagles, but in fact the buzzards have become quite plentiful.
The soft lapping waves hear the lovers who whisper they'll always be true, and the rustling of trees in the sunshine re-echo that promise anew. But the rat has heard many such lovers, and it sighs for the dreams that went wrong. May your love stay this way, the old lake seems to say, like a ghostly refrain from a song. There's a lake for each day of the year, and each holds its own precious secret of the hope and the joy and the sorrow gone by in Breffni, the kingdom of dreams.